Hey everyone, this is Elias from Match Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2023 Dodge Hornet GT Plus all-wheel drive. Now, what's that saying? Float like a butterfly, sting like a hornet? I think it's something like that. Let's just say this thing has a sting to it. Well, let's get started. We get started in the front, and yes, the Acapulco Gold color. I don't know if this reminds me of Acapulco, but it is gold, it is yellow, it is kind of in your face. It kind of looks cool. I like it. I really do. It's grown on me. It stands out, which is nice in this world of, you know, white colors, black colors, gray colors. You know, let's be loud with it, and that's what we're getting with this color. So I like that. So getting started on some front design, we have this hood, which is pretty nicely sculpted. We do have these openings here. Honestly, I would have liked them to be a little bit deeper, like this kind of cut, because in the infotainment screen, when you switch over to Sport, it shows like this super aggressive like hood design, you know, super deep. Where I told my wife, I'm like, did we miss out on a hood, or did we get a different one? She goes, no, they're just not that deep like it shows in the graphics. But they are open, so there is some functionality to it. It's not just having, you know, a covered plate there. The only thing though is you kind of open up and you kind of see where it's going, and I don't know, because it looks like it's just air that comes in through here and it's just going to come out immediately. So like this distance, not something where it's venting hot air where the turbo is around here, which you'll see. But yeah, that's the hood. Kind of cool. You know, it's not just a plain old hood. We get to the headlights, and these are nice. I do love the design that we have. Very small, very sleek design. The front end is nice. I mean, it's got its kind of mean look to it. We do have this though that is blocked off on the sides. So yeah, kind of let down. And then we have the bottom grille, and we have the radar under there, which we'll discuss a little bit later when we get to the cruise control side of things. We do have a front-facing camera, which is great for this 360-degree view system, but the frame rate for these are like 3 frames per second, or at least it feels like that. It's very poor. The clarity is there, but again, literally the cars look like they're jagged when you have a car pass by, or when you are reversing and going forward. Yeah, literally like that. That's how it feels. Cool little Dodge badge here, which we'll see in the back. It's the coolest thing ever. I love it. But overall though, I do love this front end. We do have a good amount of ground clearance, but don't worry though, it's still kind of sporty feel to this. So yeah, we do have a good amount of ground clearance, which we'll discuss some kind of an idea I would have for the Dodge Hornet. Overall though, I do love the front end. So enough of that, let's go ahead and see what we have under the hood. We get under the hood and we have the 2.0 liter inline 4 Hurricane 4 engine, and it is cranking out 268 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to the 9-speed auto and then to the all-wheel drive system. Now, a couple of things with this. The moment I opened up the hood, I realized, wow, this is a really tall mounted engine. This exceeds kind of yeah, this area here. I was surprised. I was not expecting the airbox to be up that high. It's also a front mounted turbocharged engine, which is kind of nice, because if something goes wrong with this, it's a lot easier to, I mean, it's still really tight in here, but it's a lot easier to kind of manage than having to really go to the back. But yeah, I was just surprised by the design. Now, a couple of things with this. The power, this thing is wanting to go. It really wants to go all the time. It is really hard to drive slowly. It is, because of the sensitivity of that pedal, it should either have a eco mode in this, or it should have a less sensitive normal mode, and then have the balls to the wall sport mode that it already has, and it behaves that way in normal mode. The other thing that's kind of weird with the engine is I'll go ahead and, in stop and go traffic, you accelerate and then you kind of let off, but it's still surging forward. So not sure what that is. We had that with the Grand Cherokee, and I didn't like it. That was one of the things that was kind of scary when I was driving that. So not sure what's going on with Stellantis vehicles and their programming, but yeah, it's a little bit on the kind of scary side of things. So just be aware of that. To drive it slow. You drive it fast though, and it is so rewarding. It wants to go, go, and go. The transmission's not bad. We have good shifts. We have 9 gears to kind of go through. No complaints there, really. The all-wheel drive system, it's great. It's great at putting the power down where it needs to. It's not intrusive, very neutral, which was surprising because a lot of these kind of hatchbacks or small CUVs will have a very front-wheel drive bias system and then react to the rear. So you'll kind of feel the understeer at first and then it kicks it back to the rear. Not with this. It's constantly working. You could feel it in the sense of you getting that neutral response to it. The sound, you could hear the turbo, probably because it's so highly mounted. You could really hear it. And then when you let off, the recirculate. I'm not sure if this has a diverter valve or how it releases extra air pressure, but you could hear it. Probably a blow-off valve, but it's really nice. It's got its cool boy racer more type of sound for that. And then the other thing is with this hood that I mentioned that has the openings, you can kind of see that this is where it really lines up. Yeah, not sure if we were to kind of follow me. Yep. So it literally has this channel here that just kind of goes right back in and out. So not sure how much pressure it's releasing under the engine, but it's not much, or at least it doesn't look like much. But yeah, that's kind of what we have with this. So let's go ahead and take a look at those wheels and tires. We get down to the wheel and tire package and we have this surprisingly large 20-inch wheel, and it is wrapped in the 235/40 Michelin Pilot all-season 4 tire. Now, a couple of things with this. So the wheel design, I think it's a little too big. We'll see on the side proportions, but it's a little big for everyday comfortable driving. That's because the sidewall isn't the largest. So you are going to feel bumps a little bit harsher than you would if we had a smaller wheel. The grip though is really, really good. The grip on these tires are incredible. The all-wheel drive system knows what it's doing and gets the power down to the right wheels. But it is really good. Now with this having the track pack, we do get the Koni FSD shock absorbers, and they do have the adaptive damping dual stage valve shock absorbers with selectable modes. Yeah, a lot of tech talk. Basically, adaptable valving when we have in normal mode or in sport mode. Honestly, I couldn't feel the difference between them, but they are still great. They are still great for pushing it and having some fun. Everyday driving, it's a little tough. It's a little on the more sports car-like feel to it. So they are a little bit on the stiff side. So just be aware that in normal mode, they don't quite soften up as much. Again, the combination of a pretty, stiff suspension with a big wheel and smaller sidewall, you're gonna be feeling a little bit more of a sporty feel to it. So just be aware of that. The brakes though, brakes are great. You really load it up and they want more. They're like, okay, cool. Do you really want to stop or do you want to stop? So they do have that great feel to it. Pedal was no issue. But overall though, yeah, maybe we can talk about a off-road version of this. So let's go ahead and see on the side and we'll discuss that. We get to the side and this thing is actually pretty big looking, but yeah, on the inside it's a little deceiving. But we'll take a look at it. I do love the proportions. I do like the shape of it. It's got a quirky, cool look to it. So a couple of things. We get started on the front side of things, and one thing I did notice is the front kind of plastic down here. It doesn't go all the way to kind of give you like a front lip, which I kind of like, because at that point I don't know, it just kind of adds a little bit of a different design. It's got a little swoop, small swoop to it. We do get the cover, the plastic over here on the fenders, and it follows through down there, and it does kind of kick out, which I really love. It's a great line to it. It kind of looks like it's kind of carved out like that. So I love small details like that, because it's not just a simple, cool, we just put black plastic at the bottom. There was some thought to it, which I really like. And then we have obviously the rear fender area there as well. We do have kind of this sculpted look to it. It kind of carves out with the line, so it's almost like if it was shaped more with clay and give you that human feel as opposed to a computerized design. It could be one or the other, but it has that feel. Very similar to Mazda's design, where just very nice lines to it. But yeah, that's kind of what we have. The black Hornet badge, that looks so cool. I love this thing. I wish I could have like the badge by itself, but it's really, really nice. We do have the black mirrors, which is a nice touch with the camera system. Like I said, the quality of the 360-degree system is really nice. As far as image quality, frame rate quality, definitely not there. Black framing around the windows, which is just perfect for this gold color combination. And yeah, that's really the side design. Now, what I wanted to talk to you guys about was the wheel and tire combination. Now, you could see this kind of sits a little bit on the high side, but don't let it fool you. It doesn't perform like it's a really high CUV, because it's kind of it's an overgrown hatchback kind of thing, but a small CUV. But again, don't let it fool you, because it still performs really great as if this thing was really low to the ground, and suspension is set up really nice. But hear me out. A smaller wheel, maybe 18-inch or even 17-inch, and give me a meaty tire, and give me the same height though. So I do like, I like this wheel and tire overall height, but let's shrink the inside and enlarge the outside inward, so to speak. So we get a big sidewall, and I want to say this would be a lot of fun if we had a rally inspired version of it. Yeah, what do you guys think, Dodge? Or what do you guys think, viewers? Let me know. It would be a kind of cool thing to have, because it does perform really good on the road. But again, we're gonna have to retune those conies so that they are a little bit on the softer side of things. But that's kind of what I have on the side profile. Now I have my key in my pocket. Grab here, it unlocks, and I can go ahead and open up and get in. Now, it is a fairly big size door, but be aware that this opening isn't the biggest, so it is a little bit on the tougher side, especially if you have the seat forward a little bit. So yeah, we have that, and we close that off, and we'll go ahead and lock it. The back does not have a sensor, so just be aware that you're gonna have to kind of do one of these. You can program it to unlock the back, and then we open up here. Yeah, this is kind of on the dangerous side, so I'll kind of do that so it's easier to see. This little part of the door comes out, and if you take a look at my height and where it kind of is, let's just say there was a few close calls with this, because obviously I'm kind of planning for the door to be at this length, but we get this little extra kick, so just be aware of that. That was kind of something. It looks nice here, but I wish the whole door, or I wish this were just kind of coming a little bit more in to follow with the door line. Yeah, like I said, close calls. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have in the back. We get to the back, and there's a lot of cool things to this. Yeah, we'll get there, don't worry. But at the top we have a nice little spoiler that just kind of kicks out a little bit. We have our third brake light here, which is really nice. We do have a rear glass. It looks a little bit on the big side. Just be aware the visibility isn't the best. I think it's maybe due to the fact that we kind of have a very slim rear view mirror. So yeah, we have the wiper, but I do like that we have kind of a crest and not just kind of a rounded off, you know, single shape kind of point A to point B thing. So we do have this little point right there, which is, again, small details make the difference. Rear wiper, really good, you know, gets that cleaned. Okay, we got that out of the way. The tail lights, yes, this is so cool. I love this design. We have the taillights that just kind of connect all the way around, and we have the illuminated Dodge badge back here. It is so cool. This is at night, it looks really nice. You can kind of see it a little bit here, but at night it just looks so cool the way that it shines. I love this design. This is really, really good. Yeah, so that's the taillights. Then we have the Hornet badging in black, which is a nice touch, again with the GT badging here. We do have the reverse camera. Like I said, great quality, bad frame rates. Did I mention that, by the way? And then we have just a big old piece of plastic down here, which that was kind of a letdown. I was hoping a little bit more exciting down here, but we have that. And we unfortunately don't have any exhaust tips or anything like that with this, which would have been a nice touch design wise, but we have that. So let's go ahead and see what we have in the trunk. You open up the back and you go ahead and press down here, and we have a pretty good amount of space. So that was kind of surprising. The only thing though, it is a little bit on the tall side, like the floor is a little bit tall. So we'll just kind of take these things out really quickly, and I'll show you that once you open this up, that platform under here gives you a large amount of space. Now, I'm realizing something. There is a good amount of space for a tire, for a replacement tire. Looks like a donut should be going in here, but then I see that there was a fix and go. So looks like you don't get it, and looks like ours was already used for this press car. So yeah, surprisingly, because like I said, it looks like it would fit a donut in there. And then you get this thing where, yeah, now you have to kind of do this because it has that tiny little lip that you have to kind of get it into. And the other thing I noticed is that little lip, it's kind of yeah, styrofoam. So just be aware, you may not be able to put too much weight on it, because that's what it depends on. One thing that's really nice that not a lot of cars in this segment have is a you know, just kind of a, yeah, that opening, so you could put long items right in there, whether you're going skiing or just taking something long from IKEA. You don't want to put the seats down, you could just do the center little piece. So that's a nice little option to have for that. And now the other thing that's been frustrating is this button to close it, because typically you just press it and it closes, but it doesn't for typically every other vehicle. So with this, you have to kind of hold it down and then it closes. But then sometimes I've held it down and it doesn't close. So yeah, kind of confused by that. But that's what you get in the back. You get inside of the Hornet, and let's just say it's really clean, really nice, very European design. Let's go ahead and check it out. We get started in the door, and like I said, we get a little bit of a kind of European design to it, and that's because yeah, we get that, but it's in the best possible way. It looks really nice. The materials are really nice. I do love, we have a harder plastic up here for, you know, more kind of durability. We have this really cool texture here with this plastic, and we have the brushed aluminum look to the handle. We have the buttons for the unlocking, locking, and the 3-position seating. This, yes, the Harman Kardon speakers are really nice in this. They sound really loud, really clear. I love this grille design as well. It's just a shame that we don't get it with this. We don't get it for the bigger subwoofer, so, or the bigger speaker. So it would have been nice to just kind of have that, you know, this kind of metal thing at the bottom down here. But either way though, they sound really good, and the controls are really nice, really small with that. And we have a nice surface here, red stitching, which is always my favorite. And a little compartment here for a water bottle fits actually really good. Didn't look like it, but I was able to fit a water bottle with no issue. And we have a little bit of space for other things. So that's kind of what you get with the door. We take a look at the seats, and these things are really nice. I love the design to them. Really, really nice performance. You know, very sporty seats. We have our adjustability there. Let's kind of start from the top. So the top has the softest headrest. I love this. Well, first, I love the stitching. That looks great. Having the Dodge logo there, having the red stitching around, but definitely it is so soft. It's like an angel's just holding your head right in place. So love that. And then we get to the kind of Alcantara finish here, which is nice. We do have some breathability, which is good when it gets really hot. We don't have any venting, but we do have the option for heating, which is a nice touch to this. Really big side bolsters, really hold you in. They are big boy friendly, so you'll still be able to enjoy some tacos and sit comfortably. And same thing goes with the sides, which is really nice. Sometimes you get really big bolsters on the side, but not many on the bottom part, but not with this case. So really great seats. And yeah, I'm a big fan of these. We get over to the steering wheel, and it continues with that sportiness design to this. So looks really, really nice. I love the shape to it. You go ahead and kind of grip it, and it's ergonomically nicely designed there. You know, if you want to kind of lift it a little bit more, you have that option as well with the kind of cutouts there. So this looks nice. It feels good. So we have the perforated, or the dimpled leather there, and the wheel itself is nice and soft all around. It's got semi-flat, so it's a little bit on the softer side with the flatness, so to speak, down here, but it looks really good. Missed opportunity definitely would have been getting some of that red stitching and bring it over here, because even the dash has it. So the dash has it all across, which would have been just a great look to it on the wheel. On the left-hand side, we have the cruise control buttons, and this system was extremely lacking. It felt like a teenager was driving for the first time when it sensed a vehicle. So and I'm talking about the adaptive cruise control function. Yeah, so when it sensed the car, it was slamming on the brakes, even at the furthest distance, and I had it activated significantly, and I wasn't going much faster than the vehicle in front of me. So not a big fan of this. I immediately turned it off because it felt like the Jeep Compass did that I reviewed, and it was not my favorite. So unfortunately, if there's traffic, just be aware of that. If it's open road, open highway, yeah, just use it and you're fine with that. Or don't use the adaptive function for it. Then on the right hand side, we have the controls for the infotainment screen and for the gauge cluster. Now this is a little confusing though. So the volume button is really cool. I love that. I love the feel to them. That's not a problem. It's this. This is to change a track. So this is confusing because if I go down, which is typically down the list, it doesn't work that way. It just started the song over. I have to go up to go to the next song and down to go to the previous song. And yeah, let's just say I didn't like this because it made really no sense. Yeah, it really didn't. Like, I'm not sure why we have this and not just a button for next track. And that is probably because we also have to use this knob to change options here in the gauge cluster, which we'll look into with this button. So besides the cruise control, besides the volume controls, and I mean the next track and selection. Oh yeah, forgot sport. Yeah, sport is really fun to do. besides that, I like it. We get to the gauge cluster. Yeah. And that's going to take a bit. So that takes a little bit for the forward collision warning system to start. And it's working now, but it does take a little bit. On the left-hand side, we have our speedometer. On the middle, we have different gauge that we can change. And on the right side, we have our tachometer and little gauge on the inside. So I press the little menu button. I can do performance. I can do driver assistant and messages, speedometer, and that's it. So you can see if it, yeah, you can press that to change whether you want it to be in kilometers or miles per hour. So we have that. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find out how to change the performance side of things. So I'm trying to see, like I've pressed and held the button, nothing. So we unfortunately have that. But if you press the menu button again, we do have options that we can change here on the side. We have MPGs, we have nothing, we have music, your compass, your trip information, trip 2, and your tire pressure. So yeah, that's kind of been it's probably in the menu. This is a pretty complicated system in the sense that you have to do things in a particular way to get things changed. So I'll put it in sport, and yeah, sometimes you have to hold it, sometimes you have to press it. So it's a little finicky with the system. Again, Italian design is what I'll say. So on the inside, when you have it in sport, it is going to change to the G meter, so you can have that there on the middle. And again, you just still get those other options, which again, I'd like to have something else in here, but it doesn't tell me how to change it. I probably have to change it in the menu. It shouldn't really be that complicated. And here it doesn't really change much on there. So that's kind of what you get with the gauge cluster. We get over to the infotainment screen, and this thing is tiny. It's kind of on the tiny side. It is very sharp. It unfortunately takes up the majority of the screen when you have the system itself. So the Dodge system is just kind of surrounding that area there. So your Apple CarPlay is actually kind of small compared to maybe another screen, or because the real estate is kind of on the small side. It is touch only, so you do have to kind of push your buttons on the screen. It is going to get your fingerprints. It's pretty fingerprint happy. You do have shortcuts here. We have shortcuts there. Try programming this. It's just, yeah. You have also other systems that you can create shortcuts for. You can have, this specific app and the other app and, my car. You have, there's a lot. There's a lot. So get ready to just kind of, we'll do Apple CarPlay. So just get ready. Oh, and that's just one shortcut, and just add pages. Be ready to sit in your car and go through this. It's not a bad thing, but it's a lot. I tried programming the 360-degree camera system on here on the side because I thought you could do it. So hear me out, internet or YouTube, if you're able to do that. But thankfully, we have it up here because you also have another area for shortcuts. So I can press there and I can see the 360-degree camera system, which, like I said, it is nice and clear, but the performance of the frames are pretty lacking. So I'm hoping, okay, a car is passing. Yeah, I don't know if you could see it, but it is kind of on the jagged side on it. It's not my camera recording. That is what the system is gonna give you. So like I said, if I had time to really a need to want to go through all of these things, yeah, you see, even another area for shortcuts. So a lot of shortcuts, but you're having to do a lot of things to get to those shortcuts or modify things. It's just, everything is so much. It's a lot. So just a fair warning. We come down to the climate controls, and they are fairly easy fairly simple to kind of activate. No issues with things. Yeah, no complaints, which is a good thing. Definitely what you want to have. We come down a little bit more and we have the start stop button for the engine, which is nice to kind of have right in there. It's kind of begging for it to be in red, just to give that little bit of a pop and to kind of match with the stitching of the interior. Yeah, I kind of want a red button there. I know, boy racer, but it would be kind of cool. And then we have the engine auto stop start system for, yeah, when you're stuck in traffic, that kind of thing. I haven't turned it off. It hasn't been a problem. It's really fine when it's, you know, it doesn't start up and shake the whole car like other vehicles. It's a fairly small engine, but you know, there's smaller engines that have been really shaking the car, so no issues with that, no complaints. We come over here and we have the wireless charger, and yeah, with this, there was a huge amount of issues with it. So we'll start with the chuck test. Actually, I'll put the car in gear to give us more space, and we'll do the chuck test. And yeah, it's not gonna happen because it's so tight in here. You are needing to really, and even to kind of get it out, you're needing to really slide it in there, and it's working for now. And I say that very sternly because it's gonna work. And even though it is about 67 degrees out, and in here it's about the same temperature, and I've had the AC even at like 69, 70, this thing overheats. And it's not just my phone. My wife goes, oh yeah, I had that happen to me too. So the pad overheats when it's charging, and it shuts off, and then it turns back on, and then it shuts off, and then it turns back on. And it's annoying because it will do that and give you a big warning to the point where it just hides whatever you have, especially when you're using like GPS. So don't use this. Use the USB connections if you need to charge, which kind of takes away from the fact that we have wireless Apple CarPlay with the Uconnect 5, which I was surprisingly surprised that it's working and I'm not having any issues like I did with the previous system. So it looks like they fixed the issue. So yeah, to kind of take your phone out, it's kind of a problem because you do that, you're hitting the 12-volt adapter. So you need to kind of lift it up and then pull it out. I hate it. I really do. I wanted to like it, but it doesn't work and it's very uncomfortable. We come over to the shifter and it is nice. We have a nice leather finish to it. It feels really good. The only thing though is that it's pretty sensitive going into the manual mode. So when I just kind of put it back, it's just a very tiny amount of pressure needed. So, you know, when you're just kind of in a rush and you put it there, a lot of times I saw myself just accidentally pulling it into manual mode. So just kind of be aware of that. Make sure it's in drive. But other than that though, it's a good feeling shifter. You know, going back for plus for the next gear up and down for downshifting has been fun. Don't have paddle shifters on here, but this has been nice to just use there. On the right hand side, we have our volume control with what I like to call the cheese grater. This has been a little difficult because I've been forgetting that it's there. So pretty much I've been using the steering wheel controls. And then we have our electronic parking brake, just a matter of, you know, lifting that up and it is going to activate it and then pushing it down to deactivate it. A little bit lower, we have the traction control and the parking sensor noise situation that turned off. And then we have the cup holders, which have been pretty good. So they are pretty big openings, but they do have the little rubber stopper, so it helps with making sure like smaller things like this, like I'm trying to twist it and it is not going to move. It does move a little bit like that, but you know, it's pretty good there. Only thing though is that it is a little bit on the narrow side, so if you have big cups, be aware. And the back one is most likely going to hit because from top down you could see there's very little space on there for a tall cup. But that's pretty good there. Then we get to the armrest, and yes, the stitching is so nice. The red stitching, we open this up, and it's basically, sorry, my dad's. And we open this up, and it's basically non-existent for space, which is why this has pretty much, you know, my dad's little handicap thing has been there, because that's probably the only thing I can fit in there. But overall, though, it is comfortable. It's smaller, but it is fitting for comfort. We get to the back, and we can see the door is pretty much the same as the front, except that we don't really get that fancy, you know, grille for the tweeter. We do get a different one, which I think would have been nicer to have this over this, like, really cheap looking plastic. So it would have been good to add a little bit more touch. But overall, though, that's kind of what you get. Again, be super careful with that. See how much it kicks out. It's a good amount that it kicks out when you kind of need to get in and out. But you don't benefit when you try to get in, because it's a little bit on the tight side of things. Now, I'm not a tall person, so I'm about 5'6", 5'7", and there's not gonna be a lot of leg room for your rear passengers. So just be aware of that. And the other thing as well, it is not a big, wide, you know, it's not a wide rear seat. So my parents were pretty uncomfortable back here with my kiddo taking up the space with his seat there. And we go ahead and we do that. We have our secret cup holders, like my kid likes to say. We do have those rubber things to pressure the cup. And then we have the pull, put through. Forgot I had my bag in there, but the opening to put things through. We have USB-A and USB-C. For that, we have a vent there, and that's what you get for the rear seats. We go for a drive, and yeah, I'm ready. I have it in normal mode right now. I do have accessory gauges on, so I can kind of see what's going on. I can also do like the technical gauges, but that's just the turbo PSI and the torque. Accessory gauges is going to give you better information: oil temp, transmission temp, and your battery. But yeah, we have it set in drive, no sport mode for the transmission. We're going to be in drive. I'm pretty set, and away we go. And yeah, this thing likes to go. It's actually, drivability wise, it's a little tough to drive slow. It just wants to always go. Now, the other thing that I felt this in the Grand Cherokee as well, we're having an issue with the gas pedal, in the sense that if I am accelerating, or I'm, you know, just have my foot on the gas and I kind of let go, it still kind of lurks a little bit more forward. Like if I still have my pedal, my foot on the pedal and accelerated just a tiny bit more, it's like it has a little spurt of fuel that it hasn't burned off yet, and it goes, or like a surge of the boost from the turbo that is just giving it that little bit. It's like it's not knowing that I let off the gas and cut the accelerating. It's, yeah, I don't know what the deal is, but I felt that in the Grand Cherokee as well. And it was kind of scary, because in stop and go traffic, that's where you have, you know, needing to make sure you don't go any further than you need to. And like I said, the pedal, it's very sensitive, so it really wants to go all the time. So lurking forward a little bit is tough. Like I was having the issue when I was trying to park in my driveway. I do have an incline, and you know, you kind of get stuck in the middle, and you go to accelerate a little bit to creep up, and it was just jumping, and you had to hit the brake really quickly, to the point where I started having to put my left foot on the brake to make sure that I don't go through my garage door. So just be aware that, I don't know if it's just this vehicle, or yeah, or that's how it behaves, and you have to just kind of adjust to it. But that was the drivability we get with this. The suspension, it is a little on the stiff side. You know, those big wheels and small sidewall don't help with comfortable ride quality. Sport quality, yes. So if you like spirited drives, then you're gonna be fine. But this week I've been hauling my family in this, including my parents, and yeah, it's a little tough to drive comfortably, and making sure your parents, even though they're I'm a bit older now, they're still gonna say, hey, be careful, drive slowly. And it's like, I'm trying to, but this thing doesn't want to. It really does not. So it really behaves like a Hornet, where it just wants to go. And speaking of go, let's go ahead and hit those fun curves. So we'll go ahead and put this in sport mode. So we'll press the button on the wheel, sport on, go into manual. Ooh, I have a meter here for the G's. So we'll go ahead and slowly take this one first, just to kind of get a feel of how that is. We'll put it in manual mode, and we'll surge a little bit of the turbo, and yeah, it wants to really go, like I said. And let's see how the grip is with this turn. It's pretty good. It feels very neutral. It doesn't feel rear bias or front wheel bias. With an all-wheel drive system, you'll usually get, especially in a little car like this, you'll get a lot of front bias. But no, it is going. And let's hit those brakes. We do get a little bit of a nosedive with that. Now, this isn't the hybrid, so it doesn't have, I think it's like 20 horsepower more that the hybrid does, but I also don't get the added weight, and it does feel very nimble. One thing that I do like, the transmission in manual mode, it will not shift up automatically, so it will hang and hit that rev limiter on there, which is nice. Do I want pedals, paddles on the steering wheel for the transmission? Yes, I really do. But then I kind of get an old school feel with having to use the shifter down here, in the sense of, gosh, I just said manual transmissions are old school. Yeah, it's the times is what I'll say. But it's pretty good. So I'll go ahead and drop a wheel there and see how we do with our 3-point stop. And we'll go ahead and go back. 360 camera, really nice clear view, except the frame rate is really bad. Yeah, it looks like I'm using a Logitech out of like 1999. So yeah, not sure what the deal is with that. But okay, we'll go ahead and put it in manual mode. It is showing M1, so manual first gear. We'll go ahead and load up. And away we go. And it did that one automatically. Yeah. So it will do from first to second automatically, obviously for safety purposes of the engine. But we'll go ahead and give ourselves a little bit more space. And we will go ahead and try that again. I have to remember though, that down is gonna be positive or gear higher, and up is gonna be negative or gear down. So we'll try that again. We'll let it do second gear by itself, and then we will do third gear ourselves, and fourth gear. And yeah, it is really nice. The power is there. You see, I'm enjoying this car a lot more now that I can push it, but just that everyday driving was just not there for just city driving. And yeah, I was just confused at how again, it's a really mad Hornet that just wants to go. And with things like this, you really enjoy it. You get to enjoy it, and nice Sunday drives. But for Monday through Friday, yeah, it's gonna be a little tough to drive. The brakes are really good. I'm not having any complaints there. The power distribution of the all-wheel drive system is really nice. The grip, oh man, that was good. Almost a Corolla GR good. Yeah, we'll go ahead and give it that prestige. Yeah, sorry, forgot to shift. You see, that's when the paddles on the wheel would definitely help out. But man, this is a different animal. Literally, when I decide to take it out some spirited drives, but everyday driving, yeah, I think that's where this thing suffers. Like I said, it really just wants to go. The comfortability, it's kind of there, but back there, those turns, it's perfectly dialed for that. This reminds me of the new Toyota GR86. Everyday driving was a pain. The chassis was so stiff. The suspension was not absorbing anything. But when you took it out on the track, you pushed it to its limits, it just rewarded you. Yeah, so I think that's kind of what you get with the Hornet, is it doesn't like to play nice. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the 2024 Dodge Hornet, and remember, find the right gear. See ya.